Hello there everybody, welcome back to another Lost Ark related video. It's Topical Tuesday where we take a look at the subreddit over the last week and we take a look at the posts specifically over the last week, the top posts. And we just kind of chit-chat, see what people have been talking about, and hang out, really. That's what it is. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, like the video, dislike, do engagement stuff, subscribe, bigger, never, better person, all that shit. Let's open up some threads. Let's see what threads are available for us to be opening. I think we've read this last week, but I'll touch on this again just because it's here. Because I'm recording this at 11 p.m. on Monday, actually. I'm recording this at a good time. I'm gonna actually get to bed soon. Normally I record these in the ass fuck of dawn, but not today, because I got shit to do. Anyways, we definitely looked at the Astro Gems Elixirs post. I won't look at that again. Arc Grid objectively sucks. 5 days ago, that would have been Wednesday, so we definitely didn't look at that, so I'll open that. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out what posts I need to look at, because I typically avoid memes. I try to, at least. Not because I hate them or anything, but just because, I mean, there's only so much you can say about a funny picture, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Anyways. Only gonna touch on this, because I'm pretty sure I looked at this thread last time, but Amazon, please don't release so much stuff in a single week again. Between the three things, at least one, but maybe even two, is just putting way too much stress and time constraints into a single week. The whole week really helped accelerate the burnout in my whole static, Makoko Bootcamp, Paradise Season Start, 5 new gates to Prague. And I think a lot of people, especially with Kazeros, the Gate 2 having no checkpoints between 2-2 and 2-1, I think it's a very big pain point, and I think checkpoints in general should probably exist rather than not exist, but I'm also somebody who doesn't particularly like incredibly long gates to begin with. And again, I think a 20-minute clear for a gate is already pushing it, in my opinion. So if you put like two of these like 15-minute gates together and make no checkpoint between them, you're starting to lose me, man. Especially when it's like super hard content that you need everybody to play relatively well throughout the entire time. It's just asking a lot from 8 people, truthfully. I do think the hard mode difficulty probably should have been made a bit easier and then just hell mode exist. Because essentially that's what it is, it seems like. Or just have, like... I don't know how you would change it, honestly. But this is like a recurring thing that I've seen in the subreddit. I don't think very many people enjoy there being 0 checkpoints. I do think a lot of people would be fine with entering the raid. You have to re-clear 2-1 every time until you clear 2-1 once, and then you get the checkpoint for 2-2, and then you stay at 2-2 even if you fail over and over and over and over until you leave the raid again. And then if you leave the raid and re-enter, you'd have to re-clear 2-1 again. I think a lot of people seem to be okay with that. But there just being no checkpoint period is crazy. And it seems to be like a very big thing, so I don't know. Yeah, 30-minute fight, that's how Smilegate does difficult content. I don't know. Arc Grid objectively sucks. Why don't they increase the number of Astrogem points needed to activate different core traits and then make the order and chaos points cumulative across all nodes? Out of the 100 or so Astrogems that I've cut, I've gotten less than 5 that are useful to activate on one core. It was an insane amount of gold, and I don't even have all my books done. What the absolute fuck? Nothing is more frustrating than seeing a rare +4 option only for the game to choose a plus 100% cost instead. Like, what the fuck? It goes to the 1 of 4 I really don't want it to literally every time. That's the confirmation bias we love here. It feels like that. The system... This is kind of what I mean when, from the little gameplay I've seen, quote-unquote gameplay, interaction with the Astrogem and Arc Grid system. The this is what I mean when I say it doesn't seem to be a very fun system to interact with. Because I think some people were confused on what I mean by, like, the system should be fun to interact with for the players if you're going to make us interact with the system, right? And something like Transcendence, for example, isn't fun to interact with. Elixirs, generally speaking, aren't super fun to interact with, though, I mean, you can have fun with them. Like, I personally enjoy Elixirs for whatever deranged reason. I enjoyed them after they fixed them to not be so ass. With, like, the skipping animations and shit. I don't know, it's interesting to me. I like the, like, mini-game, but I'm totally aware that it's not, like, particularly an amazing system, and, yeah. But my point is, the art grid system takes these, like, terrible systems of, like, Transcendence, or I guess old Transcendence, because now Transcendence is just a fucking Monopoly board, right? But I'm talking about old Transcendence, like, old Elixirs, all of these shitty systems, even ability stones. None of these systems are fun to interact with, and then you combine them all together and then make it even worse, and then that's art grid, basically. I don't know. It's bizarre to me. But this is what I mean. It's just not fun to interact with. And I think that needs to be, like, the #1 priority when it comes to creating new systems. Maybe I'm crazy for that take, but I feel like you should want players to enjoy the things that they're interacting with. I think MapleStory is a great example here, with a system that is designed horrendously, and you're forced to interact with it. Cubing takes so goddamn long for no reason, other than to be a pain in the ass. It's so unfun to interact with the system, but you have to interact with it, and it takes so much goddamn time, and it's so focus intensive for so little. Systems like that shouldn't exist, is my whole point. You shouldn't have a system that players dread interacting with, but they need to interact with it. It's just, it's counterintuitive to me, polar opposite. There are many things wrong with this system, but no one mentions is we got to change so no one could buy Astrogems from the market, but they kept the same drop rate of Astrogems from Chaos and Guardians. Like, I don't even have Astrogems to cut on my main. What the fuck is going on? We have less sources of Astrogems. Shouldn't we at least get more dailies? They sell them in the cash shop. Now you have your answer on why they didn't increase the drop, unfortunately. They knew people would do RMT to buy gems. You just got to buy them from the F4 shop if you want them. We have a weekly per character shop with Astro Gems that Korea doesn't have, and it basically gives us nothing for a lot of gold. I don't know if you've noticed, but in Korea, you can go to buy a Class Purple Astro Gem in our region once a week. You pay 43k for a chance to get a Class 1, which in my case was a purple blue, so 43k for nothing. There's only one reason why this change was good, not being able to whale it. Now they put Astro Gems in the F4 shop. There goes your reasoning. I don't mind that all these systems are a giant gold sink. I just don't want to interact with these bullshit RNG minigames. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. There's nuance to it, right? I'm not saying, like, objectively the system is bad, necessarily. I'm just saying it's not good to interact with. And I think ignoring the negative aspects of, like, it just being miserable to just use and do things with because of, like, the benefits that it may bring, maybe? And again, I'm not even sure necessarily how big of a deal the gold sync thing is for us specifically, because our version of the game has a lot of, like, Western-specific issues as to why our economy is as fucked as it is. Obviously, the massive amounts of gold farmers, otters, RMTers, etc. I know all of these things exist in Korea as well, but it's to a far lesser degree, and also they don't really have botters in the same sense that we do. At least I don't think they do. Not at the wide-scale spread we do, I can promise you that. But yeah. I'm not even sure how much... Obviously having a gold sink helps, but I'm not sure how much that helps us specifically. At first, I thought it was kind of fun. It just kind of destroys your gold for nothing unless you're lucky. I can't imagine how much it's going to cost for a 20+ usable gems. Oh, going to cost to get 20+ usable gems. Destroying gold is objectively a good thing. We need to destroy more gold. What we actually need is more opportunity to earn gems. For the economy, maybe, but not if it makes everyone want to quit for spending all your gold every week for maybe one good gem. I mean, I think I think what this might be doing, and this is totally just a guess, I could be completely wrong here, but I think this is going to hurt the people who don't RMT more than it hurts the people that do RMT. And upon first, like, consideration of what I just said, you're going to be like, well, yeah, no shit. But what I mean by this is, for somebody who only exists in this game through legitimate means and, like, legitimate income, their gold goes a lot less far than someone who RMTs, because they have a lot less gold to spend. So if they need to prioritize things like art grid and cutting the astro gems and, like, filling out these systems, all of their gold is going into this, and it feels even worse when they don't hit. But I'm not even talking about, like, hitting or not. The gap just kind of widens between these people even more, and it feels even worse. Because it's like, if you RMT, you can just RMT gold to buy gems, you can RMT gold to buy books, you can RMT to buy all this shit. But if you're somebody who doesn't do this, you can't really save gold anymore because art grid is a vertical system that you need to progress. You know what I mean? And I mean, again, maybe this is just a complete question mark. It's just something that I just thought of. But that's what I mean when I say I think it might be widening the gap between people who RMT and people who don't. I don't know. It's interesting. Economy-based things in video games especially is something that I've always taken, like, a heavy interest in, and, like, for no reason other than I just find it interesting. I always have. Go back as far as, like, me when I was, like, 12 playing RuneScape, man. And then I got very heavy into, like, WoW marketing and all that shit. But I find stuff like this interesting, trying to figure out, like, the cause versus correlation for certain things, why certain things are designed in certain ways in video games. It's just interesting. And at the end of the day, you'll never know for sure, but having good guesses and stuff can pay off sometimes. And I especially find it interesting with, like, the psyche of people specifically, especially, like, player base, because it's apparent that people don't like interacting with certain things and people don't like feeling certain ways, and if certain systems make a large portion of people feel the same way and it's, like, negative, then you have to wonder why. You have to figure out why. I don't know. Anyways, I'll stop yapping about this shit. Song out troll. Insane Bonk, the Chaos Conqueror. Damn, he's cool. Probably not really allowed to post this type of behavior is repulsive. The potato song down. I love calling people potatoes. I call myself a potato all the time. This potato song doubted for Gate 1 Brel clear just to jail people. I advise just preemptively blocking to avoid him. Fair? Can confirm song doubted for Gate 1 cleared while doing token run and Brel normal. Dude literally goes out of his way to go into a non-gold earning raid to waste their time. Can confirm a month ago you joined our Brel lobby after we zoned in, decided to AFK and force us to remake. I mean, it's funny to me that people like this exist. Funny to me in the sense that, like, somebody wants to spend their time doing shit like this. It doesn't surprise me, it's just funny in a very sad way. A quick maxroll update. We wanted to give a quick heads up on the recent activity and upcoming updates. Paradise Guide has been updated. Art Grid Guide has been updated. Now includes information about fusing Astro Gems and general strategy. And then Art Grid Overview was published a few days ago. Includes cores and effects for every class. Lastly, we know a lot of you are wondering what the best build and art grid combinations are for your class, and we wanted to let you know we're working on updating all class guides to include viable art grid playstyles and builds. Due to the sheer volume of builds and information that needs to be tested, we can't share an ETA at this time, but updates will be rolled out gradually. Neat. Good old maxroll, the bowing Makoko. Right back at you, brother. Thank you guys to maxroll, you guys are the best. That's what I'm saying. Maxroll is goats. I mean, basically any website that gives resources for any sort of game is just the GOAT in general. Super underappreciated, and it's a lot of work that goes into it. Shout out to the good supports. With the release of these 2 raids, I never realized that a good support is so important. You have to DR, heal, shield, give damage buff, dodge, and have eyes in your party 24/7. Progging with a good versus bad support makes such a huge difference. Want to take the time and thank our good supports. Yeah, I mean, I think the first raid that I really started learning this in was way back in the day, Brel Gate 6. Having a good support versus like just a mid support was like a fucking world of difference. And it's only gotten more important since then. Had a support not DR anyone and used 1 Awakening in a 9-minute Gate 1 hard mode Kaz, pulled demonic forces at work. I mean, shit. Seems like you guys were down a man. Fighting 2 raid bosses, you know what I'm saying? No wonder why people don't no wonder people don't join the game if people are insulting player even on Guardian. I was doing Krathos, I had 96, 99, 44 on a guy, and I got flamed because I used 2 bubble buff during the Guardian instead of 3 bubbles. I said I doubt that people are really trying on a Guardian, especially at a late hour, 8 p.m. Said I clearly wasn't an Alta Ford. I guess the only time I don't stimulant on a Guardian... I guess the only time I don't stim on a Guardian is with flaming. I checked UOO, guy had a full roster of 1730s. Doing Guardians... People are doing this for parses, then should type raid title instead of typing plus up and stop. Guardian and Cube should be safe places to turn brain off, and getting control in the environments to turn off the will of playing. Yeah, I mean... I will say, this kind of person just exists in any online space, just in general. It's the fucking unhinged lunatic, and it sucks when you run into it. Because you always seem to run into these people when you're already having, like, not a great day. At least in my experience. Or maybe it just bothers you more when you're already not having a good day. And it's just like, what are we doing here, man? But yeah. It is unfortunate, to be sure. They're rare, but they do happen. And it just sucks when you get it happening on the day where you're, like... just not having it, you know? Not too much going on in the comments, just people giving anecdotes. I'm not going to go over this post too long because I've already been yapping for quite some time, but this was a Kazeros HM experience evaluation of regular players through a prism of an Omega hardcore quotation marks POV. But basically this is a self-proclaimed like Giga Sweat elitist, and it's just giving like an overview of their thoughts on the game. The TLDR is basically, this shit's insane. I mean, I'll read this paragraph. Absolutely garbage, artificial difficulty, no checkpoint style designed to marinate you in 2-1 and test the limits of your sanity. Very tough rating environment that makes you mad at anyone who slightly underperforms, makes you inclined to abandon friends, keep being elitist. Are we sure we want exactly this in a game that is far from having a healthy population and needs to grow? Don't get me wrong, the difficulty should exist because people like me can team up and have so much fun together, and thank God the first mode is even harder. But labeling this as hard mode was a mistake, just another depiction of how bad the current difficulty division system is. It lacks intermediate options. Doing normal mode on a 1730 character feels underwhelming and a total waste, but doing hard mode feels impossible for a normal person. Hopefully this does not repeat in the future ever again. And I mean, this is like just a continuation, I think, of the most people's complaints with 2122 not being checkpointed. Pulls take way too long. For every wipe at 2-2 or 2-3, that's another 20 minutes minimum to make it back. Realistically, it's 30 plus. Accidents always happen. Yeah, I don't know. Very tough rating environment that makes you mad at anyone who slightly underperforms, makes you inclined to abandon Friends Gatekeeper, be an elitist. You just summed up every raid in Lost Ark. They just moved the line in the sand higher up, so even the day one veterans are feeling the heat. I do think that's very true, like, in general. I think it's always kind of fostered this culture, which is something that I've always disliked. And it's definitely something that has turned me off of the game. Not the game itself, but just, like, the people who play the game in, like, the raids. And it just sucks because raids are the only thing to do in the game. But yeah. It do be like that. Anyways, I think that's enough yapping from me. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Like the video if you like it, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Thank you to my YouTube members, It's Big Sis, Inner Diz, Remix My Life, I'm New. Love all you guys very, very much, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!